Here we go. You might have something popping up. All right. Hello, my name is Heidi. I'm going to change into my faraway glasses. I'm subbing for Gail today. And for this chair yoga for fall prevention. And like I told some people before, so I'm going to do as much of it as I am comfortable doing. I do some things a little bit differently maybe, and so hopefully that works well for you. So we need a couple of chairs. If you don't have two chairs and just have a chair and a wall, it's just for that one movement that we do that we need those two chairs. You can have a block or a firm pillow or something else similar. We'll be placing it in between our knees to squeeze. You can also use your hands if you don't have it right. We all come to class, even if we don't have everything perfect. We do what we can. And then also a strap or a belt or a one of those little stretchy exercise bands. Or again, you can use your hands. So that's what we need. Another thing I want, since this is fall prevention, I think it's super important. You'll notice I've put my stuff up on a chair. And excuse me, I'm just going to come forward here. This is bothering me. I want you to be able to see my feet a little bit better. And so I put everything up on the chair. We want to try to keep our floor clear. So you just want to look around. I do have a little bit of a rug here, but I'm aware of that. My dog is lying on it. So just be aware of what is in your surroundings. So that's real important for fall prevention. You can do a little audit on your whole house and notice some things that might be lying around that could potentially create falls. Okay, and so how Gail usually does this is we do a little bit of a warm up, then we do some seated stuff and some standing stuff. And then of course, a little meditation and gratitude at the end. So we'll start with our warm up. She usually starts with the shaking of hands, I think. Again, if I'm not doing it perfectly, so sorry, we're gonna get everything warmed up anyhow. More shake up those hands. And then I like to shake my arms as too, lifting up the shoulders, right? Just do the whole arms. And then rotating the shoulders. When I rotate my shoulders, I like to do it like slowly so I can feel my shoulder blades. Sometimes I feel movement through the sides of my body. So just notice where you feel this. Again, my warm-ups will be a little bit different. And then we're going to take our arms and externally rotate them. I start to feel my shoulder blades come toward each other. That opens us up. When we're rounded forward and we have our head out like this, right? And that we're going to bring our weight forward, we're going to fall. So we lift up, shoulders up, back out and down. Those shoulder blades move toward the spine. We'll inhale and bring our arms up as high as you can. Everything in my class, you move within your range of motion. So if you're like, Heidi, I have shoulder issues, I can't get my arm that high, then bring it up as high as it feels safe for you. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Then when the arms come down, we'll just press our feet into the ground. We really want to feel that connection of the feet to the floor. I have these shoes that are really flat. I can really feel the floor. Sometimes with other shoes, you can't as much, but try to feel as much the connection of your feet to the floor as you can. And then as you press down, start to engage your legs, your quadriceps. You might feel the kneecaps lift up a little bit when you engage your quadriceps. Then we'll take our, I'm turning to the side just so you can see, take our seat and just notice, like, are you leaning your pelvis forward? Do you have a really big arch in your back? Try to make it so that everything's kind of stacked on top of each other, including the shoulders and the head, right? And so that is our mountain pose position, our Tadasana in yoga. And when you do that, you might tuck the tailbone just a little bit and feel your core engage. Okay. And then we'll do some of the leg warm ups. So you can hold on to one or both chairs. You can bring your foot out. I like to balance on one leg. When you're balancing on the leg, sometimes we do standing in the shopping line balance, right? Like that. You want to pull that hip in and really press down and lift up. So you're nice and tall and strong here. And now we'll point and flex, point and flex, point and flex. So some people do this seated, right? The whole thing seated. And so same thing, right? You're pressing down, you're lifting up. It's all the same. You don't want to be leaning to one side. And then we'll bring that foot down, press down through that leg, bring that hip in, make sure we're lifted up, make sure again that we're nice and stacked. And then we bring the other foot out. We'll point and flex, point and flex. We're already balancing here, practicing our balance while we're warming up. And back down, we switch back to this leg. We'll bring the other leg out and rotate the ankle one direction. You'll probably hear some crackling. As long as there's no pain, it just means that your ankle's saying, thanks a lot for moving me. You can rotate the other direction. I got crackles on both directions there today. Every day is different. We bring that leg back down. Sometimes I like to just stop and compare how I feel differently between one side and the other after I do something. Sometimes it's a really big difference. Then we'll engage this leg, bring the other leg out, rotate the ankle one direction. And the other. So these supple ankles, right, are really important for our balance. We'll move back up to the arms. We'll cup the hands and just bring them back and forth and back and forth. Then let the arms release, bring the shoulders up, back, out, and down. Make sure those shoulder blades are coming in toward the spine and down as much as you can. And we'll do the hula hoop, right? She sometimes has you move your feet a little farther out. That makes it a little more stable. And you can also move a little bit more. If you're seated, then you're wanting to sit up nice and tall and rotate in a circle, right? Just loosening up those hips. So I like to do a really slow hula hoop. And since it's imaginary, it still stays up, which is good because I can't do a regular hula hoop. Now we'll go the other direction. Good. Everybody was looking great. When we come back to center, we can bring our feet back under. So if you're seated here, and you have like kind of low back issues, you might want to scoot back in the chair a little bit. If you have short legs like me, you want to may want to scoot forward. But we're just going to start using those hip flexors, using our thighs, lifting the foot up as far as you can off the floor. It may be little marches, right? That may be where your comfort level is. You want to take care of yourself. If you're seated, maybe holding on to the chair and lifting up. We all want to make sure our abdomen's nice and strong. Good. And then we'll work a little bit more with the hip flexors again. I like to do this one seated. So if you are standing with me, just come in front of the chair. Make sure you can feel that chair behind you, engage your legs and sit carefully down into the chair. Then we bring our feet a little bit wide apart. And I'm going to turn a little bit so that you can see there's no reason for you to have to turn, right? And then we bring our seat down into the chair, tucking the tailbone a little bit, feeling the abdomen engage. and lengthening up. You can see that my head is, I'm always like in driving mode, right? So I'm going to bring that chin back in like a little turtle, hiding in its shell. And we bring our arms out like swept back wings, bringing the shoulder blades toward each other. Okay. You can stay like this, or you can bring your arms out. You can bring your arms up like a V. But if you start to feel like this, right, rounded, then make that V really wide or bring it back down here. You want to feel that strength in your upper back. We're going to hinge right at the hip creases, right? Like this, flat back, not like this, right? And so we hinge right at the hip creases, top of the head, away from the tailbone, nice long back of the neck. The arms reach back, the top of the head reaches forward. On our inhale, we come on back up. If your arms were up, you can bring them back up. The arms are less important than really hinging at the hip crease, finding length through the spine. Just moving with your own breath, inhaling up and exhaling down. And then we'll come on back up. If your arms were up, you can bring them down. You can bring your legs back to center. And then she usually does some strengthening. So this is where we take the block. Again, if you want to use your hands instead, then that is fine. So I like it on this narrow, but it can be wide too. You just want to squeeze in, squeeze in. You want to be feeling those muscles on the inside of the leg squeezing, and then notice where your chest is. Are you kind of sunk down here? Because we want everything working except the shoulders, the neck, and the face. Nice and released there. Squeezing in, squeezing in. And then we can release and take the, whatever it is you're using for the strap. You can also use your hands. Step on through. I've got a lot to slack to take up here, and I went the wrong way. So we're just trying to move out now, right? Really reach out. So if you're using your hands, just press your legs into your hands. Trying to feel all of this on the outside engage. Once again, trying to still lift up, lengthen up. And then you bring your leg in and you drop your knee out. And you might feel it way up here. And this is that area where if you're one of those people that your knee, like me, that like if you're bending your knee, like your knee goes like that, this is where you want to engage. And so this is where you're going to strengthen that, right? To have your knee in a better alignment, right? And that affects your ankle, it affects your hip, and of course it affects your knee. So really pushing out here, you can be pushing into your hand if you don't have a belt, sitting up nice and tall. And then coming on back in, and then the other side. So again, trying to really engage here in this upper leg. So whenever I bend my knee, because I know that that's one of my issues, right? That my knee just automatically goes in. I purposely engage the outside of my hip first before I bend my knee. So when we do our warrior standing later on, that you'll see that that's what we do. And then coming on back in, we can step out. Again, I'm trying to do this as close to Gail's as possible, but I might not be perfect. We'll come back into our mountain pose. We can just shake our legs now, shake them out. And then pat them out, step them out, whatever it is, right? Coming back into our mountain pose, feeling those shoulder blades coming in and down, releasing. So we don't want our shoulders to be holding us up. We want our legs and our core to be holding us up. We don't want those strong tops of the shoulders. We want strong hips and core. Okay, so she usually has you then come into a warrior. You can go off to the side like this, or you can do like she does like this. So the inside knee, the one closest to the back of the chair, is bent, and we bring that other leg back. You only want to bring it back as far as you need to feel that stretch. You're stretching out these hip flexors. You're stretching out the front of the thigh, getting really engaged or really lengthening there, engaging this leg. So we don't want that one just to be like, oh, right? We really want to press down and engage, and then press the seat down and lengthen up. Shoulders up, back out, and down. You can be holding on to the back of the chair. If you want, you can bring your arm up. Right? If you find that that makes you kind of drop down, then bring the arm out a little bit so that you can lift up, because that helps you engage and strengthen your abdomen. And then we can release down and come back to where we're facing forward. Coming back into our mountain pose. I like to take a breath in and release it out. When you take that breath in, see if you can fill up the belly. When you release it out, see if you can release the tension in the shoulders, the neck, and the face. We'll get to that other side, but the side that was forward, now we're going to work with opening up that hip. So we're going to step out, externally rotating the hip and back, only as much as feels safe for you, right? And we'll do it one more time. Getting a little bit of movement back in there. Now we'll switch to the other side. So you can turn, bend, or that front knee is engaged. The leg that's off the front of the chair, you're just trying to find that length. So maybe you're here, maybe you're here, maybe you're somewhere in the middle, but press down. And if you want to feel more of a stretch, you lengthen up, because everything's connected. So if you lengthen up, you'll feel more of a stretch in your leg too. You can hold on to the chair. You don't want to be able to move this leg. You want it to be engaged, pressing down and then lengthening up. If you want, you can bring that arm up, right? But if you're like, oh, I'm all rounded forward, then bring it out a little farther. And that helps you to lift up, lengthen up. We might be holding our breath, right? We're balancing. We're kind of on the edge of the chair. So take that deep breath in. And if your arm is up, then you can bring it down. We'll come on back to center. You can always shake it out or pat it out, whatever works best for you. Coming back into our mountain pose. And then we'll do that external rotation on the side that was just that front leg, right? So externally rotating out and in. So in a healthy hip, we want to move in all different directions. One more time. And come back to center. We'll press our seat down, lengthen up, and then we'll bring our one arm down and externally rotate that other arm. Then bring that arm up, right? What matters is not how high your arm is reaching. It can be here or here. It's the distance from your seat to the armpit. That's what we want space in. And so then you just bring your arm up as much as you can, drop those shoulders and lean. When you lean, we're not releasing through here. Both sides of the torso are lengthening up. And we come on back down. Other side, we externally rotate. We bring that arm up or right here, but we press the seat down, lengthen up through the side, and then lean. So if you look at my side, I don't change anything if my hand's here or here. I have a little thing in my shoulder, so I'm keeping here today. But you do what works for you. Moving the spine in all different directions is so important. That's why she has you do it every week. I might do it a little differently, but we're moving in all different directions. And then come on up. If the arm's up, release it down. Now we want to do a little bit of a back bend. I don't necessarily do cat-cow, but I do a back bend. I'm turning because I want to show you what's super important. So we don't want our back bend to start from down here. So we really want to press our feet down, get that nice base, have strength in the legs, and then press the seat down, even tilt the tailbone forward a little bit. So we start to feel engagement in the abdomen. So we want it to be strong. We don't want it to be a belly forward, right? So the navel comes back to the spine, and then we lift straight up. Okay. Then we can inhale, bringing our arms up as feels safe. Exhale, bring the arms back. I like to hold on to my chair. And then take your sternum, the breastbone, and just lift it up and bring the shoulders back. So the back bend starts from the upper back. Strong abdomen. Okay. And then we can bring the hands forward. I'll show you how to do that standing as well. Okay. We're going to do one more pose seated, and then we'll, if you choose, we'll switch to standing, or you can do those couple of things seated as well. So today I'm going to do tree pose. So we really want that strong base. So pressing our seat down, lifting up, having that nice strong abdomen. And we're going to be opening up the hips again, right? Because we're really working on our hips here in fall prevention. So you take one leg and you externally rotate it like we did, okay? You might have to slide a little bit off of the chair, so just see what works for you. So this is one of those places where my knee goes in and my foot goes out. That's not what we want. We want alignment from the knee, the shin, the ankle. So that may mean that you're in a little closer, right? We just want a little bit of space through the inside of the leg, but we don't want everything going different directions. And then we press down with both legs, but a lot with this leg. This is our trunk. A lot with the seat. Lengthen up. If you want, you can lift your heel up. You can bring your the bottom of your foot in toward the leg of the chair. Keep lifting up, lengthening up. You might say, my balance is being challenged right here. And so you stop wherever it works for you. We are balancing, so keep breathing. Nice and soft and smooth, right? If you want, you can bring one arm up, hold on with the other. You can bring both arms up. You can bring no arms up. And then release that leg down. Bring the leg back to center. And then you might have some kinks somewhere, so just shake it all out, pat it out, tap it out. Come back into our mountain pose, that strong pose, but we're nice and released, shoulders and above, right? We don't want to hold ourselves up with our shoulders. Now you may need to move off a little bit, depending on how long your leg is. Externally rotate. Make sure you've got that alignment. We don't want to be all twisted. That hurts our hip, and then we fall. Press down really with the trunk of the tree here. Lengthen up. So we're already hanging off the side of the chair. We're already balancing, but if you want to challenge the balance, you might come up on your toes. You might bring the sole of the foot in a little bit or all the way to the seat of the chair. Make sure you're still nice and tall. Soft and smooth breath. If you want, you can keep your arms down. You can bring one or both arms up. Yep, I'm going to put that arm down because my shoulder hurts. Always listen to your body. It doesn't lie to you. If your arms are up, you can bring them down, bring that foot down, come on back to center, and do whatever you need to get those kinks out, to get all that extra tension out. We don't want to bring tension from one pose to the other. Okay. Okay, so now if you want to stand up, actually everybody, you want to press your feet down into the ground. You want to engage your legs. Okay. If you want to stand up, then keep pressing down to come on up. Okay, so I'm going to make a little space here. We'll come into our mountain pose, engaging the quadriceps, maybe lifting the kneecaps up, lifting up. Okay. Before we go into the tree pose that we just did, we're going to do another thing. It's a little bit from chair Tai Chi that I think that you do with Gail as well. We'll bring our feet together as close as feels safe, right? And then we just lean forward a little bit into the front of the toes, and then to the side, and then to the heels, right? Hold on to the chair so it doesn't make you fall. But we want to feel each, sort of like each part of the foot. And you can feel where, like, this for me right here, whoa, that's where I start to feel a little off balance. So it gives you a little more awareness. Now go the other direction. So if you've been seated, if you are seated, you're doing the same thing, but the feet on the floor or your seat, right? Just noticing how your weight shifts, how your center of gravity shifts. I think I'm going the same way I was going before, but hopefully you're going a different way. I think I forgot. That's okay. And yep, that's the one for me that's a little hard. Okay, so now we'll bring our feet more under our hips. So whether you're seated or standing, then you'll externally rotate that outside leg. So whichever one is away from the chair that you're holding on to. Press down through that foot, right? We just learned about where our balance is. So bring it to that standing leg. If you're seated, it's still the leg that's in the center, still the leg that's your trunk leg, right? You can lift your heel up. You can bring your foot in. If you really want to, you can bring your foot up to the side of the leg, right? And just stop where you start to feel this leg give, right? If you want, you can bring one or both arms up. We're opening up the hip here, so you really want to feel that openness here. We're strengthening the leg here, so really working with the hips and our balance. And then we release. I'm going to switch over. You can go to the other side of your chair. If we're working with one chair and a wall, you can be up and next to the wall. If you're seated, you want to move off to the other side, though, of your chair. Then we'll press down through that leg that's next to the chair. We'll externally rotate the hip. Maybe you're like, I really feel off balance, and stay right here. Or you can lift your heel up. You can bring your heel in toward your ankle. You can bring it up a little bit, right? If you start to feel this buckling or like this, then you want to back off. Also, if you start to feel that gripping of your breath where you can't have that soft, smooth breath, you want to back off a little bit. Feeling the openness, we're really opening up our hip here. We're strengthening this side, the hip and the leg. If you want, you can bring your arms up, one arm up, both arms up. If you're seated, you're doing the same thing we did before. And then if your arms are up, you can bring them down. You can come back into that mountain pose. Then we'll swing out these legs, right? I know she usually does that at the beginning, but when I do that tree pose, I like to do it afterwards. So sort of opening and then turning back and forth. So if you're seated, going off to the side and stepping forward and back is a good way to do this one. Or if there's another way that you want to shake your leg out to release some of that tension that we created, that's fine too. Then we go to the other side. And now we're still balancing, right? We're still practicing our balance while we're doing this. So that's great too. And come on back to our center. After some balancing, I usually find that my breath isn't as soft and smooth as when I started. So I like to just take a breath, come back to that quiet place. And good. So we'll do our sit stands. So I know I'll turn my chair because sometimes I know that some of you use the back of the chair just to brace yourselves. Of course, if you're standing, find your chair first, engage the legs, and then sit down. Okay, make sure your toes are forward. You want the feet under the knees. And you can do the cross-armed, engaging the legs, pressing down, and then keeping the pressing down through the feet to come on up, engaging the legs as you sit carefully down. I know we're supposed to do it fast, but I like to be really mindful about it. So the test that you do on your own is fast. If you're using the hands on the chair, same thing though, we're not pressing down on the chair. That's going to slide right out. Oh, and then I dropped this. I'm going to trip on that. Right? We want to just use it to balance ourselves and use our legs to come up and down. We can lean forward, press down, come up and down. If you're crossing your arms, lean forward, press down, come up. Oh, the chair's in my way. And down. I'm going to move that chair just a little bit. So important. This is important for enjoyment, right? If you want to go out somewhere and be able to get in and out of those booths, right? If you're like at a restaurant. And we'll do one more. We'll stand once again and bring our chairs. Remember, you can have 2 chairs or you can have your chair and a wall. And so you want to be where the chairs are within arm's reach. And we do heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. And when you get too far forward, then toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel. Walking at the pace that you're comfortable. You want to notice the sensations in the bottom of your feet. Heel, toe, heel, toe. Don't rush. It's more important to notice and be aware. Oh, I ran into the wall. Toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel. A little too far. And the next time that you come forward, just stop in the middle of chairs. Good. I'm going to move this one out of the way. Come back into our mountain pose, taking a breath in. And releasing it out. So now, if you stood up just to do that walking, then, and you want to do the rest seated, then go ahead and sit down, make sure you can feel the chair behind you, engage your legs, bring your seat back and sit down in the chair. If you still want to stand a little bit, then we'll do some, a little bit more standing, balancing. We'll bring you can hold on to one chair. I was holding on to 2, but hold on to one chair. We do heel first, heel to the side, toe back. So if you're seated on the chair, you may need to move off to the side of the chair to do this. So notice if this hip is that shopping line hip, right? If so, bring it in, press down and lift up. Heel forward, heel side, toe back. One more time. And then we come back to center. Since I have a chair here, I'm going to switch my hand over to this chair and we do the other side. If you're seated, you want to move off to the other side. So bring that hip in, press down. You might feel the kneecap lifting up if you're standing. And we bring the heel forward, side, toe back, heel forward, heel to the side, toe back, heel forward, heel to the side, toe back, Feel forward, feel to the side. Oops, I'm starting to get that shopping hip. There we go. Waiting in line. Toe back. And we come back to center. Just shaking it out. And we'll bring our feet out a little bit wide. You want to bend the knees slightly. You might turn your toes out, but you want the knees going in the same direction. If you're seated, you can keep your legs in, or you can bring them a little bit wide, but we'll just turn a little bit, release some of that. Now, if you're not supposed to rotate, then just go side to side, right? We're just loosening back up that low back, that hip that we might have engaged while we were doing all that balancing. We're going to start to move into some stretching, bringing everything down into a meditation. So we want to release any of that tension. And then we come on back, bring our feet so the toes are back forward. Ooh, my goodness, that was loud. And we'll step in front of the chair, engage the legs, sit carefully down. See if you can plop less than usual. Coming into that seated mountain pose, shoulders up, back, out, and down. We can bring our arms like a W. So sometimes we have arms like a W and the hands are forward. Try to bring them back so they're in line, not so they're way back, right? But they're in line with your shoulders. And you might feel a little openness through the fronts of the shoulders. If it's too much, make it a little wider, right? But try to still keep them in line. Okay. And then as we inhale, we lift up and then squeeze those shoulder blades toward each other. We bring the arms around, and now we feel the shoulder blades move apart. We bring the arms back out, lift the sternum, open up. See if you can bring, when we come back forward, when we exhale, see if you can put the other arm on top. I'm not sure that I did, but I'll try for the next time. Opening up and broadening across the collarbones here, broadening across the upper back here. The next time that the arms are out, we let them down, shake them out. Now this next one, it's kind of like a cat-cow, but it's just with a very low back. And so it's just like right here. So some people like to be back in their chair. Some people like to be forward. We're going to be, you might even put your hand just to get the idea of what it is. Put your hand on your low back if that feels okay for you. And you press the low back, your tailbone tucks forward a little bit. You feel length through that lumbar spine, through the lower part of the back. And then not with the whole body, but just like tilting the tail. Then you make that little indent in the back again. So it's just it's a teeny tiny cat-cow with that lower back. I like to do this when I'm on the floor. So maybe like when you're in bed, pressing the low back into the bed or the floor, and then lifting it up so you could put your hand there. But it only goes right here, right sort of that line where your ribs are. You don't want to be like that. So a lot of times we lose this movement, right? Tilting the pelvis bringing it back and forward. That's what we're doing here. A lot of times we lose that. And so our walking gets stiff and then we fall. So I really like this one also because it feels good, especially if you're lying down. So try it. Try it like when you wake up in the morning and your low back is really stiff. And then we just come back to our neutral position. And we come back into our mountain pose, shoulders up, back out, and down. We can bring our arms out and just reach to one side and the other. All we're doing is trying to find a little space through the sides of the hips and the waist. So if you prefer your arms on your hips, oh, I told you I was going to do the back bend standing and I forgot to do that. I'll have to do that next time. Because we're winding down now. Then come back up to center, either with your hands on your hips or hands on the thighs. Rotate in a circle in one direction. And the other. Then come back to center. We'll externally rotate the arms. We'll inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, release them down. The next time they come down, then you can scoot toward the back of the chair. Release the backs of the legs and your seat into the chair. Let your feet just rest on the floor. Let your hands rest wherever they're most comfortable, right? So maybe that's your lap. Maybe you like to bring your hands together at heart center. Maybe you like to place your hands on your heart or even your belly. You might want to close your eyes. You might want to look down toward the floor. But just start to focus on your breath. Just noticing the breath as it comes in to the body. And then start to fill the belly up. Releasing the breath whenever you're ready. If you feel the belly release back down. As you breathe in, first fill up the belly. As you breathe out, let that belly release back down. Now, if that's a comfortable breath for you, then stay right there. Keep doing that belly breath. If you'd like to add on and sort of work a little bit more with the whole torso, then first breathe in, fill up that belly, and see if you can bring your ribs out toward the side. So if that doesn't make sense, just keep doing the belly. As you breathe out, bring the ribs back in, belly releases. So we always start with that belly breath. If you want, you can bring the ribs out as well. And then ribs and belly on the exhale. Always go back the opposite direction. So you can do a 1, a 2, or a 3-part breath. If you want to go on to the 3-part breath, then do that belly, or you can stay with just the belly. Ribs come out now. Lift the chest up. Let everything expand through the torso. Then the chest releases. The ribs come back in. and the belly releases. Only go to where you're comfortable. Belly, maybe the ribs go out, maybe the chest lifts. Chest releases, ribs release, belly releases. Still with a soft, smooth breath, right? Not gripping or holding. Not pushing beyond where we're comfortable. Now, whatever breath you were doing, whether it be the 1, the 2, or the 3 part, come back to that basic one, the belly. And draw your awareness as your belly rises and falls. Draw your awareness to your heart center, maybe by placing your hands on your heart, or maybe just, with your mind's eye, noticing the heart. Maybe putting your hands together in front of the heart center. Whatever helps you. And think of one thing in your life for which you're grateful. And let that fill up the heart center. Maybe it's not even a person or a thing. Maybe it's just the feeling, right, of gratitude. Whatever it is, let it fill up your heart center. As you breathe in, that thing that you're grateful for, that sensation of gratitude expands. And as you breathe out, it condenses so that it's really, really strong within your heart center. It's really natural for your mind to wander away from whatever it is you're trying to concentrate on. So when that happens, just remind yourself what it is you're focusing on, that heart center, that sensation, or that object of gratitude. And gently bring it back. And then on your next exhale, as that sensation, that thought of gratitude condenses, and keep that in your heart center. Know that you can access that at any point in time that you need to, right? Just drawing your awareness to it, focusing on your breath, focusing on that sensation. But for now, we'll start to bring our awareness back outward. You might, if you have glasses on like I do, you might want to take them off. You can rub your hands together, making your hands really warm. If you'd like, you can take those hands and cover up your eyes. Then gently remove the hands away from the eyes. You can slowly blink your eyes open. Removing the hands away from the face, coming slowly back into the room around you. If you're like me and have glasses, you can put them back on so you can see the room around you. And then just start inviting movement back into your body. We were a little bit still there, so you can wiggle your fingers and your toes. You might do one of those wake up stretches. All right. You might twist and turn a little bit or shake. Just notice what your body needs to come back into your space. And we'll come back into that strong seated position, that seated mountain pose. We'll externally rotate our arms. On the inhale, bring the arms up. Whoop, bumped into the chair. And on the exhale, bring hands to heart center. I am so grateful that you have chosen to take the time today to take care of yourself, to strengthen yourself for fall prevention, to relax and release with the meditation. Self-care is so important, and I congratulate you on making the effort to make it here today. I hope that you have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you so much.